so here's the part 3. This time we're going to talk about something a little more positive, something a little more godly, a little more holy. And that was me moving to Miami. I really don't know where it came from. I don't know where the thought had stirred up in my head from. It was just, I had a calling to get out of the place that I was in. My family was toxic. I was fighting with my dad to the point where things were getting like too physical between us. Where I kind of drew the line was, we were in the kitchen one day. He was just going off. I think it was the day that he... I'm not even going to say what he said. I'm going to not make him look bad. But I do remember him just charging at me like a bull. Just like a bull. And we were just like... we just ended up on the ground. Everything was getting flipped upside down. And it was to the point where my brother heard something. He was upstairs and he heard something, and he heard screaming, all this hollering. He heard banging, and he came downstairs, and it was to the point where my brother had to rip him off of me and be like, "Dad, like chill out. Like, what is good with you? Like it was just too toxic." And all my friends there was just too much gang activity around me. And people were dying left and right. And people were just, there was shootings, killings, murders. And I was just getting sick of it. Like, not only the place that I was living became toxic with all this negative energy, but all the people around me were just, it was just a cycle, just a never-ending cycle, just never ending. And one day I woke up and I was like, I just had this thought, like, I have to get out of here. Like, nothing is going to amount for me in this place. I'm going to end up in jail again, or even worse, I'm going to end up dead this time. So I just kind of, I don't even know what happened. I just, boom, Miami popped into my head. And I knew I wanted to be in a city. I started going against the thought of Miami, and I was like, nah, I don't want to go that far from my mom and my grandma. Like, I have to be here for them. So I think I'll just go to New York. Then I was looking at places in New York, and it was just, after everything that happened in New York, it was just, I was like, you know what? Let's not go to New York. And it's too dirty, and it's just as expensive, if not more, for just a gloomy, gray place. Like, I'd rather go to Miami. So I remember I called up my cameraman at the time, Tejon, or Shaba Express. Shout out to you. And I just hit him with, yo, I'm about to move to Miami. You want to be my roommate? And he was like, yeah, when are we going? And I was like, fire. That is the energy that I need. Like, that's perfect. So I started looking at apartments, and I found this place online, and I set up a tour for it. We set up our flights, got everything together, and we booked a hotel for the night, for a couple nights. We ended up having to stay here for a few nights because the process of getting the apartment wasn't the easiest thing. It was almost like a gift from God, but also a test, like, how bad do you really want it? So we got here the first day. I remember we toured the apartment. We liked it a lot. Everything was good. And we were sitting down with the leasing agent, going back and forth, and we tried putting it in just my name, just his name. Denied. Probably because of me. I think my name is just not good. Even when I tried to move into a new apartment out here recently in Miami, and everything was good. Like, after I've been here for a while, I just wanted to upgrade and get myself like a nicer area for my studio and everything. And we found this beautiful building, and everything was good. And I put down the deposit. Like, they wanted like 15 bands because they wanted first month, last month, and a security deposit, and the monthly rent. We're a little bougie, so it's expensive. They wanted a lot of money. I got all the money together, gave them all the money, and then they set me a move-in date. And then on the day of our move-in, they refused to give me the keys because they said that I'm a murderer. And I was like, okay, I do have a record that's not very good, but murder's not on there, so that's a little foul, but whatever. We ended up renewing at this place, just staying here. And I do truly believe that I wasn't able to move into that next chapter until I solidified certain things that were meant for me here. So it's not a bad thing. But the first day that we came here, when I first initially wanted to move to Miami, we were going back and forth, tried my name, tried his name, back and forth. We started including friends because we didn't want to burden our family members. So we found a very good friend of Tejan's, and he has a very good credit score, and he was willing to help us, and he was a really nice guy, and it still didn't work. So then I was like, you know what? I just got to remove. We were going back and forth, just burning money on application fees, because each application fee was $150, and it just started adding up. Like in a day, we went through like 10 application fees. So we looked at each other and we were like, they were getting to the point where they were about to close, and he was like, look, just come back tomorrow, see if you guys could find somebody. Me and Tejan were getting sick of burning all this money, and we were just like, all right. We went back to the hotel, and we're just like, nah, we're not going to take no for an answer. We're just not. We have to figure this out somehow. And then I remember talking on the phone with my mom, going back and forth with her. At first, she didn't necessarily want me to move, but as I started explaining everything to her, she saw the potential in me being here and being away from all the toxicity. So she was like, you know what? Try my name and see what happens. So I was like, all right. We went back. I think it took 2 days of trial and error. I think we went back on the third day, and we came back, and then boom, that first application we tried, the leasing agent, he was getting discouraged at the time, and we all thought that we were getting redlined. So we kind of were at the point where like, this isn't going to go anywhere. Even Tejan's mom was like, guys, you're getting redlined. Like, they do that to people like you. Like, you're not going to live in that building. And we were like, yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. We're going to give it one more shot. And boom, the leasing agent looked up at us, and he was like, oh, you're approved. And we were like, oh, we looked at each other. We were like, for real? He was like, yeah, you guys are approved. Let's go. I'll get you the keys. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. So I remember he gave us the keys. We came into the apartment. Everything was beautiful. And we were both overwhelmed with this excitement. And it was just a great moment, to be honest. Then we both got struck by reality, realized that we needed some more cash to stay afloat here for the next few months. So we both went back to New Jersey. We moved in on June of 2023. We both went back for that whole month. And then we were both in New Jersey for pretty much like the whole month of July. And then August, I was dealing with my grandfather in hospice, and there was just a few things. So the first few months was just kind of, it didn't really count for me. I was just doing so much back and forth. So eventually we got the money together, everything is settled. My grandfather passed away. I went to did his funeral the month after that. And so there was another month of me not really seizing the opportunity here. And then the month after that, now we're in like December of 2023. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to make money over here. I'm going back and forth with all these studios since I'm a very good audio engineer. I'm a senior audio engineer at this point, and I'm going back and forth. I was sending them references, all the mixes, all the people that I've worked with, just sending out my resume. And I was getting some entertainment from them. I was trying to figure out my real estate license out here, trying to figure out my insurance license out here, trying to figure out all these things. Nothing was working. It led to me saying the prayer. If you watched the prior episode, part 1, it led to me saying the first prayer of my life, and then things started flowing from there. The studios, it was just closed door. I ended up kind of dabbling with one of them a little bit, and then one day he called me up for a little help, and then there was just a discrepancy. I was not liking the way that he was acting. He was using foul words and foul manners, and I just walked out of the building, and I never heard from them, and that door just shut. Then I was trying to go to another one that was more professional, and we were going back and forth, and I was showing up there, and he was testing me on some things, and then he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna learn. You got to learn the rooms, this and that." And we're going back and forth a little bit, and eventually he just randomly out of nowhere stopped answering me, and then that kind of fell off. That door shut. So all the doors shut. And I feel like God, he just didn't want me to do that. It just wasn't my particular path. Sometimes, no matter how hard you try, it doesn't matter the effort you put in. If it's not for you, it's not going to be for you. And it's just as simple as that. So I realized that, and then I started focusing, and it was really all a blessing. At first, I didn't realize it, but now I'm realizing it as the ball's rolling on things that I actually want to be doing with my life. I'm working very long nights, and I'm grinding very hard, but it's almost, in a sense, effortless, and it doesn't feel like work to me. So I'm headed down the right direction. January came around of 2024. I remember going out with this girl. I took her to a club, and we were going back and forth. After I broke up with my ex, I had met this other girl, this Dominican girl, and she was cool, and we got along very well. And we were going out, and I was spending a lot of money, and I don't think we clicked very much. And she had different priorities than me. She wanted to like have fun and drink and stuff. And then I remember we were out January 2024 at a club on New Year's, actually. It was a good night. We had a good night, but I remember just at the end of the night, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't want to drink anymore. Like, I'm done. So then, boom, drinking fell off for me. I was done drinking after that. And then February came around. There was this girl that I had met in New York. She was really cool. We had a good connection. I was filming a music video one day, and she just randomly came up and hopped in the music video and just took over like my spotlight, basically, in a sense. And I was like, who are you? And then we kind of just clicked. She ended up visiting me in Miami. She's from the West Coast. She's from San Diego, actually. And so then February, she was here for almost 2 weeks. So I kind of spent the time with her, and I enjoyed the time with her. It was a good time. And then March rolled around, and then that's when things finally actually started for me. And God was calling me into an isolation stage, but I was refusing to listen. But these past couple months, it's just been like, my roommate's a very talented director, and he's been getting booked in New York. So he's just been in New York, which is a good thing for him and a good thing for me, because I've been alone. And in this isolation stage that I was supposed to be in for a long time, but just kept going against it, I finally embraced that isolation stage, and I sat there and I faced myself, and I was granted with certain strengths and certain opportunities that led to one after another, and the ball started rolling for me. And I started becoming very unattracted by smoking weed. I was done drinking. I just didn't want to do these things. Like, I drank when that girl from San Diego was here in February, and it's just like, after that, it was just like, all right, I'm really done with this. Like, I have to embrace this isolation. I have to be alone. I have to follow my path. I have to be fully focused. And all these thoughts just overwhelm my head, and the ability to act on those thoughts also was granted to me. I stopped smoking weed. I became abstinent. I stopped drinking. I stopped cursing. I became so unattracted by all my past behaviors. I started realizing that my friends are not really the friends that I want. Like, there's a select few, there's a small group of people. I mean, I'm always going to be friends with them. It's just a small circle now. I'm just reserved, and there's just not, I don't want to be around people. I just really don't. Like, if you're not motivating me and helping me with my music career, helping me get to that next level, then I really, to be honest, I'm not trying to sound rude or anything, but I want nothing to do with you. And that's just how it has to be. I was casted into that isolation, embraced it. Now I have the strength to sit here and focus on God, really sit there and dive deeper into the Bible, sit here and have time for myself to spend 30 minutes to an hour in the gym every single day, making sure that I get at least 3 or 4 hours of focused work on my music career in every single day, making sure that I'm making new content every day, making sure that I'm making a new beat every day, making sure that I'm making a new song frequently. And things just picked up for me. And the universe, once I embraced that isolation stage, the universe just started just favoring me. And it is a feeling that I cannot explain, but I finally, no matter what happens, I'm not anxious anymore. I cannot even find myself becoming depressed. NASA. I can't even find myself becoming depressed. I can't even find time for the wrong things. It's just all the right things. And I love this alone time. I just love it. It's the best thing ever. I finally got to that point where I was going back and forth with my ex-girlfriend a lot. And I finally got to the point where I'm just like, I just let it go. And I have this new sense of belief and this new sense of confidence in myself that nobody can take from me. I wake up every day doing what I want to do. Not even really what I want to do, but what the universe wants me to do. And I just feel good when doing it. Started diving into it and accepting everything for what it was, looking at the past as a lesson, no longer holding resentment. And things have been flowing in a direction that I've always wanted them to flow in. I was just always so stubborn, and I remained against it for too long. Until you become a person who can actually handle the blessings that you're supposed to have, they're gonna be on reserve. You're not gonna receive any of those blessings until you can truly be capable of being grateful for them. After embracing that isolation stage, making the best of it, and truly finding myself throughout it, now I feel like I need to still be in it, and I don't really want to be around anybody except for myself right now. But I feel like I'm also coming out of that isolation stage now. I feel like certain connections and certain opportunities and certain people are being placed into my life for a reason. The stars are just aligning. I think dots are being connected in an appropriate manner. I'm not forcing anything with anybody, whether it's managers, girls, or other rappers or anything. I'm not forcing anything. Things are just coming to me. That law of attraction is real. Like, manifesting is a real thing. You just have to be fully capable and aware of what your abilities are, what your strengths are, and you have to seize them. You have to seize every opportunity, and you have to really put your best foot forward every day. And the moment you decide to do that, there's gonna be this door that opens, this door that opens, that door that opens. They're just gonna keep going. As you need them, they're gonna come. When it's the right time, it's gonna come. It was hard at first, leaving everything that I know behind, leaving my family behind, leaving everything that I loved behind, where I was comfortable. But the moment I broke out of that comfort zone and fully embraced it is where I started getting rewarded. Now I'm headed down a path with absolutely no distractions. Nothing can get in my way, and it's really not if, it's just when at this point. It just takes a little bit of belief, and sometimes it takes everything falling apart for you to realize that it wasn't those thoughts that you had. It wasn't your plan. It wasn't the things that you thought were going to happen. It is what the universe has in store for you. The time will come when it's right. If it's your person, it doesn't matter what you do today, what you do tomorrow, what you do a year from now. That's going to be your person. Connections and opportunities will come to you when you're fully capable of receiving them with an open mind, and when you are willing to put your best foot forward. It's a lot of trial and error. You're gonna fall in life. You're gonna fall. You're gonna fall. You're gonna fall. You just have to get back up every single time. If something is calling you to do something, just do it. It's gonna feel very awkward at first. It's gonna feel so uncomfortable, and it's gonna seem like everything is going against you, but it could be the biggest step of your entire life.